Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Naruto, issue number 2 from IDW. I still can't believe that this freaking crossover exists. This is just so weird. Like, of all the crossovers they have with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you're gonna do Naruto? I mean, it is interesting. They are ninjas, but still. So, yeah, in the last issue, we had the cliche Turtles fighting against Team 7. Because you always got to have that in crossovers. You always have to have the two different leads fighting each other before realizing they're on the same team. And that's what happens here. They realize that, hey, Kakashi and Splinter seem to know each other. And Kakashi basically explains that he saw Hamato Yoshi fighting during his travels as a boy, and he was extremely skilled. But last he heard, he was gone, betrayed by a rogue student. And Splinter shares the story about how Hamato Yoshi was his master, and he was actually Hamato Yoshi's beloved rat, and that's the mutagen is what changed him into Splinter. And they decide, okay, well, you know what? You can call me Kakashi. These are my students. Splinter's like, hey, I'm Splinter. These are my sons. Basically, we could just get a huge introduction. We already know these characters, so I'll be skipping that. And the Turtles take Team 7 down to their lair. And we have them fluffing each other up as they're going towards the lair. Like, basically, Raphael is talking about how awesome Sakura is and how strong she is. And I'm like, really? This is pre-time skip Sakura. She was useless. Sakura is like one of the worst characters in Naruto. To be honest, I even think post-time skip she was terrible and useless. Maybe she's better in Boruto. I don't read Boruto, so I wouldn't know. But Sakura is like one of the most useless characters ever. So to have Raphael fluffing her up, it just rubs me the wrong way. But we have Mikey and Donnie talking with Naruto and Leo talking with Sasuke. Basically, they're just kind of jerking each other off at this point. And then eventually they get to the lair. And we just have moments where they're like hanging out. And to be honest, Michelangelo and Naruto hanging out makes so much sense. Like, they kind of share similar personalities. I can totally see them being friends. And then we kind of get Naruto talking about how he grew up alone. But thanks to his friends, you know, he feels like they make him stronger. And Kakashi explains about Naruto having the Nine Tails Kurama sealed within him. All that jazz. I'm going to be skipping a bunch of that stuff. Splinter tells his story. For anyone who's familiar with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the story is pretty much the same. For anyone who's not familiar, I'll do a super quick run through. Hamato is the sensei of this dojo. Splinter is just his pet rat. One day, this guy named Oroku Sakai showed up. He was a troubled boy. He grew up in the criminal underworld, and he came to the dojo seeking to create a new path. And so Hamato is like, yeah, like, you know, I understand hardship, and you're a promising young student. So he taught him the ways. But Saki was cruel, and he never let go of his old ways. He ended up stealing Hamato's family scroll. Ended up murdering him and destroying the dojo. Splinter made a run for it. He almost died in the process as the dojo was burning down. He ended up dipping into Ooze, where he found 4 turtles, and he took them and raised them, and they all mutated. So basically the same exact story that we get in pretty much every continuity of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He trained them in the ninja ways, sent them above ground once they were ready, and they started fighting the Foot Clan until eventually they came across Oroku Saki. Very familiar story. That's when April tells her story about how she got into this situation. And basically her story is that Baxter Stockman was creating this mutagen. He had this crazy ooze that was able to mutate animals and creatures and stuff like that. No one believed him. Everyone thought he was just nothing but a disgraced scientist, and he had crazy theories. But he had perfected this thing. He had lost the batch earlier, just the batch that Splinter and the Turtles ended up dipping into. But he has now perfected the batch and created a new batch. And he wanted April to basically tell his story, put it out there. He wanted to become famous. He even gave copies of his notes to April. And he just wanted acclaim. He wanted accolades. He wanted public vindication. He wanted the Academy to realize that they were wrong to sack him because he actually knew what the hell he was talking about. And then eventually, because of that, he ended up teaming up with the Foot to help fund his projects. And Saki wanted more power for himself, So they attacked the base, which I don't know why they would attack the base if Stockman is already working with them, but whatever. They attack the base. Stockman ends up making a run for it with a can of ooze, but he ends up getting captured. And April almost gets captured herself. She's able to take one of the batches and hide it in her backpack. And before the Foot Clan can get her, the turtles show up. And during the fight, she makes friends with them, but she leaves to go to the nearest medical jutsu expert, which is, I believe that would be Tsunade. And that's why she went to the Hidden Leap Village. And so they realize, okay, well, let's work together and let's stop Oroku Saki. But first, we're going to eat pizza. And Splinter and April decide to leave, I guess to go hold down the fort or something while everyone else goes to get pizza. And then that's when trouble arises. As it turns out that Karai had watched them enter the secret base, so she knows how to get in. And now the Foot Clan is there and gets to jump on them. And Splinter and April come face to face with Shredder. And that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Naruto issue number 2. So, yeah, I felt myself kind of skimming through this one because they were just repeating the same story. But we have this weird moment where we have Splinter sharing his story and his flashback and stuff, which shows you guys as it was happening. And then immediately after that, we have an entire page where Sakura basically just summarizes everything that we just read. It feels like we're wasting time here. You could have been using these pages for something else. It's like we literally just finished reading and seeing this flashback of Splinter telling his story. And then we have to have an entire page where Sakura summarizes what we just read. And I'm just like, are we at this point now where we literally got to summarize something we just saw? We're instant replaying something that just happened. And a lot of the story is just, as a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, it's stuff that I've already know. So Splinter's story doesn't change just because we're in a Naruto verse. He still pretty much has the same exact origin story along with the Turtles, same exact path, all that stuff. Nothing has really changed. April's story is a little bit different, obviously. She's a reporter here, whereas in the original comics she wasn't. In the cartoon she was, obviously, but in the original comics she wasn't. She did work for Stockman. So it is interesting to see her dealing with Stockman because that's how she was originally introduced. But yeah, the whole Stockman decides to work with the Foot Clan to help fund his projects, but then the Foot Clan attack him anyways to get his batches. Why would they need to attack when he's already working with them? You're attacking your own scientists. That just seems kind of weird. You could have just showed up and be like, hey, I heard you're done with the batch. Hand it over, or hand over a copy of the batch. Whatever. Just that was kind of weird. The whole them fluffing each other up, I was just kind of rolling my eyes at it, especially Raphael fluffing up Sakura of all characters. So this very much kind of felt like a nothing issue. The ending was a good setup, but everything else is I've seen all this before. I've read so many Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comics, different variations and versions of them. I've played so many games. I've watched all the cartoons. So you're just basically showing me the same origin story I've seen over and over and over and over and over again. And then you waste another page summarizing what I just finished reading. Even the April Baxter Stockman thing, it's we already kind of had hints of that in the last issue. So you're just kind of sharing the same exact information, but just expanding upon it a little bit. So it's kind of a shame because this is a wild, crazy crossover. There's so much you can do with this. And it feels like we have nothing happening. We literally have in 2 issues, we have the Turtles meet Team 7. There's a brief fight. And then we get Splinter's backstory and the Turtles' origin story. And we get April explaining why she's here. And that's it. It's you could have had all that in one chapter. Rather than having the Turtles, in Naruto, fight each other, because that's so cliche, you could have just had all this introduction stuff in the very first issue. And then the second issue can really kick off the story. But it feels like right now we're 2 issues of setup. And as far as I know, this series only has 3 issues. So the next issue is going to be the conclusion, I think. So we basically have 2 issues of setup Like 2 issues of just getting the story all set up just so we can end it with the very next issue. Yeah, I feel like this is like a really wasted opportunity, especially since like the artwork is pretty good. I like how it's like a nice blend between Naruto and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like it's not manga style, but it does a good job of adapting the manga style into a comic book style. All the characters look the way they do. The characterizations works. Like everything here is like all the foundation is good. It's just you didn't do anything with it. You had all this good setup and stuff, but then you wasted 2 issues on setting up a story that you're going to conclude in the very next issue. So it feels like we just wasted a bunch of time. Like you could have had all this stuff done in the first issue, setting up for like, some really cool like action scenes or whatever in the second issue, and then have the fallout and final conclusion, the epic battle in the third issue. But it's like we're doing 2 issues of setup just so we can conclude in the very next issue. Just a lot of wasted opportunity in my opinion. And yeah, I thought this was kind of meh. It's like I'm reading something that I've already seen so many times in the sense of the origin story and stuff. I've seen that so many times. You didn't do anything different with that. You could have done something different. Completely new origin story to fit in with them being in the Naruto universe. Just something like that. So yeah, this was kind of a letdown. But that's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Naruto issue number 2 from IDW. Hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you next time. Take care. Later. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, I still want to thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next one is more to your liking. With that said, thank you once again, and I hope you guys and gals have a good one. Later.